Okay, now this question comes to us from subscriber RunRig97 who asks, is there any way to drop the tuning or drop the pitch of a jaw harp? Now we're going to go over 3 different ways to lower the pitch of this instrument. Let's first see where this instrument's at. We've got a tuner. You can get a tuner on your phone or you can buy a tuner off the internet. Let's see where the fundamental pitch of this jaw harp is. I'm going to play it. It looks like I'm there about 20 cents above my note E2. So I'm going to want to drop the pitch of the instrument. Now, our first method, this is going to come into play if the jaw harp was already tuned and you notice that the pitch is now above and you're an aggressive outward player. Outward play oftentimes will bend the trigger of the instrument in to recurve it. And as we bend this trigger, here I'm just going to use my finger as an analog for this, as we begin to bend this trigger in, it's going to change the pitch. And what you're going to need is a pair of smooth jaw pliers. And if you want to see my tutorial on how to make your pliers smooth jaw, see the above link. Or in a pinch, you could always just put a little bit of tape over your pliers so you can hold your reed. Now, you do not want to do this on certain harps. If the trigger does not want to move manually, don't try to move it. Parmaple, they will just snap off because the triggers are very hard. This one is slightly softened. So if I were to take and bend it outward, just a touch, we were about 18 cents above. Now you see I'm about 10 cents above, but we're not going to do that. We're going to try a different way. This would be only if the instrument had raised a note because the trigger deformed inward. We're going to put that trigger right about where it's at, where it was at before, slightly recurved in, about 17, 18 cents. Our second way, this is going to be a less permanent way. This is a piece of beeswax. Now, I'm not going to melt this beeswax because I find that melting beeswax is a big mess. Hot melted beeswax is extremely hard to get off of surfaces. So I'm just going to take a piece and we're going to stick this right in our trigger bend here. This is the less permanent way. Our last method will be completely permanent, but here we're going to try some less permanent ways. Let's just put a big glob of beeswax. I'm going to stuff it right in there. Let's see what it does with the tone. It should drop it quite a bit. We're just a big glob of beeswax stuffed right in there. And this is a semi-permanent way to drop the note. Let's see where we're at. We was about 17 to 18 cents above our pitch. Beeswax, you are too sticky. Now I am well below E2. You see I'm way down there about 50 cents below. So I'm going to take a little bit of that beeswax and I'm going to trim it off. You can either shave it off or you can use a knife to trim it. Find a good place to stick your beeswax because beeswax, if it gets in your carpets, gets in your clothing, it's kind of permanent. Okay, we've trimmed off some of the beeswax. As we trim more off, as we add weight, tone drops because the reed slows down. As we subtract weight by cutting away, it begins to bring up, and we are about 20 cents below. So I need to cut off just a little bit more. Let's shave off just a tiny amount, see what happens. We're coming up a little bit. I need to shave off a little bit more. Let's take this off the top. That would come off anyways. Pretty much only what's in the trigger bend will stay. And it will stay stuck in there pretty much until you remove it. Let's see where we're at. About 12 cents above. So I'm going to trim off just a little bit more. Let's see what happens as I begin to trim off. I've trimmed off about flush, so I'm going to have to probably start digging into it just a little bit. Let's see where we're at now. Oh, we're almost there. We're about, 8 cents below. So it's easier to go in small amounts than it is to go in large. So remove beeswax, check where you're at. Oh, we're about 5 cents. Let's see if I can remove just a little bit more and still keep it within there. Oh, we're about maybe 2 or 3 cents below. I'm going to dig off just a little bit more. I'll see if there's any area where it is hanging out there a little bit more. Oh, that's probably a little bit too much. Let's see where we're at. Removing just that much that's on the tip of that knife. Oh, there we are. There's our E2. So I just tuned this, and this will last until you dig it out or until it melts. Beeswax does have a pretty high melting temperature, so you probably wouldn't want to leave this in your car. But this is a semi-permanent way that you can tune your instruments with little to no tooling, a little bit of beeswax, and a shop tool. But we're going to go and get into our permanent way. So I'm going to take and I'm going to dig all this beeswax back out of here. I don't want to melt any beeswax. I've gotten beeswax on the TV before. I've got them on pots, pans. There we go. We should be thereabouts back in that 18 to 20 above E2. Let's play it again, see where we're at. So yeah, we're about there, about 15, 16. Yeah. So what we're going to do, this is going to be the most permanent way. And first off, I'm going to say when you're using power tools, when you're in the shop, wear safety glasses. So I am going to be wearing safety glasses for this. So we're going to put the safety glasses on. And what I'm going to do is remember in our tuning video when we raised to note, we removed weight here. We ground on this a little bit on the grinder and raised to note. Well, we don't want to raise, we want to drop. So the place I'm going to remove is in this first 1/3. This area right here. As I go down the reed further, it's going to raise to note. So I want to drop, so I'm going to remove this first 1/3. And I want to be careful when I'm doing this. Remove a little bit and check it. And the way I'm doing this is just a rotary tool. It's a Dremel, but any rotary tool will work. And these are cheap sanding sponges. I think for about $15 on the internet, I got a variety pack of about 50 or 60. I don't remember how much it was, but yeah, every one I tune, I just figure I'm going to use an entire one of these sanding sponges. It's just an abrasive sponge. I think this black one was the most coarse. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be removing reed material from the thickness, not from the sides. You can remove from the sides. I prefer to remove from the thickness of the reed on this first 1/3, and I want to just do it very, very gradually. What I want to avoid when I'm doing this, and this is going to be irreversible, what I'm going to want to stay away from doing is grinding too deep. If you grind deep like this, the reed will, if this is an analog of our reed, it's going to vibrate like a 2x4 on a spring. And a vibration like this transfers a lot of vibration to your head. It's not as good for sound. It's not as good for sustain. So we want to avoid that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a gradual removal on this first 1/3 of the reed from the thickness. This is the side view, because we still want it to vibrate like a wave. We don't want to grind it deep here, create a deep belly, and then the reed vibrates like a 2x4 on the end of a stick. We want it to be doing this waving pattern where the whole reed is flexing. So what we're going to do here, and you might also wear hearing protection as well, and bare minimum wear safety glasses. And we're going to see where we're at. You remove a little bit, we're going to remove a little bit, we're going to check, we're going to remove a little bit, we're going to check, because it's easier to remove a little bit more than it is to work backwards from that. Let's go ahead and let's play it. About 15, 16, 17 cents above E2. And keep in mind, whenever you drop pitch, you're increasing sustain while decreasing volume slightly. Whenever you raise to note by removing here, you're going to be decreasing sustain and increasing volume. Here, when we're dropping, we're doing the opposite of which we are dropping to note. We're removing here. So we're increasing the sustain and sacrificing a little bit of volume. So keep your adjustments small. 20 to 30 cents drop down isn't bad. If you're 50 cents or more, I would do something different, because you don't want to drop 50 cents down. Okay, we play it. About 15, 16, 17 cents above. What we're going to do is we are going to put our hearing protection on, put our safety glasses on. I'm going to remove the first 1/3. I don't want to remove down here because then it's going to raise. I want to drop very gradual. Probably have to speed up my grinder. Oh, look at that. We're now about 8 above. So we don't have to go very far. Let's polish a little bit back here and play again. A little bit. Play it. Oh, now we're about 3 to 4 cents above. Polish a little bit. We're going to play it. No, we need to go a little bit more. I'm trying to do very small amounts. play. Oh, almost. It says I want to go to E2, but it's going to require a little bit more coaxing. Little increments is better than big. Yeah, we're gonna have to push a little bit harder. I just don't want to go too far. There we go. We have hit E2 with this. Now this is the permanent method, and I'm going to be posting links to different methods. There's going to be a link in our raise to note. There's going to be a link in our plier demonstration. And thank you so much to subscriber RunRig97 for asking this question. And if anyone has any other questions on tuning, harp adjustment, harp maintenance, harp fixes, be sure to comment below and we'll see if we can't make a tutorial for that. And I'm probably talking way too loud because I am wearing safety glasses. Let's see if we're still in tune. There it is. Now, let's just, for the fun of it, we're going to remove after the first third and watch what happens to our tone. I'm going to remove a little bit there. Now, in theory, this should go up a little bit. See, now we're about 4 cents above, so we're just going to drop back down. We're going to hit our note again. So that's just a good demonstration of grinding here versus grinding here. This first third part right here drops. Anything down here, especially here, is going to raise. Let's see where we're at. See if we can hit E2 again. Almost. There we are, E2 again, permanently tuned. Thank you so much to RunRig97. Really appreciate it. That's a good comment, good question, and good questions and comments make for good videos. I love y'all. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more harpery. Keep your harps clean, keep them dry, keep old, and most of all, be good to each other. Harp out. And a good thought on this is when I'm doing different techniques, when I'm applying breath, when I'm changing the tone, I'm going to be changing the way this tuner does read it. But if I just hit it one time, closed tone, no breath, no tongue reading, no tongue movement, look what happens. Looks like we're out of tune. We're going to hit that one more time. There I am, thereabouts, E2. So you might have to play the harp, flex it a little bit to get it to stay in tune. There we are, E2. Love y'all, harp out. Now, lastly, I nearly forgot one thing I like to do after I tune a harp. Now, I've got many untuned harps for my collection, but when I do tune one so that I know that it's tuned, I like to mark it. This is a cheap $10 engraver, not an expensive one, and a block of wood just somewhere to set the harp. I like to flip the harp over, and on the back inside of the frame, I'm going to engrave the note E2, and it's going to be marked so I know when I see that harp that it is an E2. And one thing we're going to want to do with this is also hearing protection. It's going to be very loud, protect your ears, so let's get to this. We're going to turn on our engraver, hold it. The block kind of gives me a surface to hold it on. I'm just going to tag it. I'm going to tag it with the note E. I don't know if you can see that well, but I like to tag them right there. I like to tag it on the front too. There we go. Harp is marked E2. Harp out.